Hey everybody, it's Caleb Crewy with Caleb Crewy Reports and Predicts. Here we are. I'm recording this on Monday, the day before the election. It's going to be I think it's going to be a very close election. Although my map may not necessarily suggest that, I'll go into that. I don't have the Real Clear Politics stuff pulled up. I'm just going by 538, but I went over the 2016 numbers. So my predictions are based kind of around that. I also want to say that I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you guys are interested, if you go to SWVA, which stands for Southwest Virginia Patriots, they're doing a live stream for election night, and I will be helping them co-host. So just feel free to tune into that. But just thank you guys so much for watching this video, and let's dive in. We're going to start out in the state of Nevada. It has Biden is up by, on the average, about 5 polls, but we have some recent polling, both from Emerson and SurveyMonkey, that have Biden up by 2. There are several that's shown in the last couple days, as you can see, that this is tightening up. So it might be up by 5 points, but it's getting a little closer. I still do think that Biden will hold on to Nevada, just because because Trump underperformed his numbers in Nevada in 2016. So I think that will hold again. And then we go to Arizona, which is another Republican, was a Republican stronghold. Democrats haven't won Arizona in a very long time for president. I do think Joe Biden will make that switch this time. He's up by 3.1 points. There's a couple polls coming out that have it pretty close. One today had him up by Biden up by 2. There's a couple that had him up by 3. One had Trump up by 2. I'm just basing this on kind of our average. It's very close in Arizona, but you got to remember that Trump underperformed in Arizona last time as well. So I do think that the Democrats will pick up Arizona. And you'll see this trend in some of these states with a larger Hispanic population. They're harder to poll, and pollsters have not been able to poll them properly. Oh, I need to switch Nevada over. I had Biden winning it. So we have that in. So now we're going to head over. We're not even going to do Colorado. Biden's up by like about 10 points there. Trump didn't win there. He'll win there. Let's see if we have any polling on Nebraska too. That's what we're looking at, is for the Nebraska second district. Nebraska does flip their okay. We have Biden up by 3 in Nebraska too, and I didn't do a lot of polling, but the state of Nebraska is going to go for Trump overwhelmingly. If you go to that congressional race, it's looking pretty close. I do think that Trump will win Nebraska too. And then we go down to Texas. And what I was saying is, if you look at some of these states with a larger Hispanic population, Trump, they're just not easier to poll. So the polling usually favors Democrats. But now in Texas, Trump is up by a point. He did slightly underperform his polls in 2016. But if you look at some of these polls, we got one here even today, but others have Trump up by 1. A couple have Biden up, but a lot of these have Trump up by 1, but it's usually 3, 4, 5, 2. So I do think that the president will hold on to Texas. Ted Cruz didn't run the best campaign and won Texas, so that's not as big of a worry. Now let's go we'll start with Iowa, and then we'll slightly move up and go into these blue wall states that I think is going to be extremely important. But we'll start with Iowa. I saw some pretty interesting polling parallels in these early states, so that will, of course, interest some voters, some people as well. Let's go here to Iowa. Trump's up by about a point, 1.6. There's all these polls that are showing Trump's up. some have Biden up, of course, but I really just think that the president will nab Iowa. That's a state that's trending in his favor, in that GOP favor. And then we're going to switch over to Minnesota. Now, the key to remember in 2016 was that Hillary Clinton won Minnesota, and she won Minnesota by she won it by about 1.5 points. Trump outperformed the polls pretty well. We see some of these polling that have Biden up by 10, by 12, by 11, by 9. But you got to remember that was similar numbers that they had Hillary Clinton up. I do think that Biden will probably hold on to Minnesota, but I think Minnesota is going to be very important to watch. And I do think that he'll hold on to it, but it's going to be extremely close, and it may be enough for the Republicans to pick up the Senate seat. Then we're going to go to Wisconsin, which I think if you go back to 530, he's up by 7.9, Biden is, but I think the president's going to win, because if you go on the Real Clear Politics average and you go look at Wisconsin, what you will see is that Biden's numbers are the exact same as Hillary's was in 2016. So I think Wisconsin probably has been underpolled. Trump performed extremely high here, and I think he's going to pull it out. Now let's go to Michigan, another interesting state. If you go to Michigan, Biden's up by 8.2 points, 8.2. But there's some polling here, like Trafalgar has it a little closer than that, and there's a lot that have it there's one here with the 2. It's kind of 7. It's kind of getting closer. If you see, Trump's been inching a little closer in these last couple days. But I do think that the Democrats Biden will probably take Michigan this time. Then we go to Ohio. And you go to Ohio and you have Trump plus up by 0.2. But some of these polls, these recent polls are showing Trump up. He's definitely going up. I think that Trump's going to win Ohio. He won it pretty big in 2016. I think he'll win. And then we go to the very important state of Pennsylvania. Now, Biden is polling a little better in Pennsylvania than than Hillary Clinton did in 2016. He's up by 5. That's only up by 5. There's some things that are putting it a little closer. I'll go back on Michigan real quick. I've decided, I was looking at some of those recent polls. I do think that the president will win Michigan. And I also think he'll win Pennsylvania as well. And so then that brings us up to Maine too. So I do think that the president will win those 3 states there that he won last time. I just think that some of the polling is just he'll outperform, especially in Michigan. And I think Pennsylvania and Michigan both have good voter demographics for him. And Wisconsin, I think, is doomed to repeat the mistake of 2016. As we go to Maine, and we're looking mainly here for Maine 2, the 2nd congressional district in Maine. And you see +3 for Biden there, and then you have one here +3 for Biden, +3 for Biden. It's very close, but Trump did outperform here as well, and I do think he will pick up the Maine 2nd congressional district. So now let's go down to North Carolina. We go to North Carolina, you have Biden up by 1.9, but Trump outperformed his polls in North Carolina in 2016, and I think he'll win there as well. Then we go to Georgia, which I do think is going to be a very close state, but the Republicans are going to, it looks like David Perdue will win the Senate race there, and I just think with the Republican winning the Senate race there, that the presidential race. You have Biden +1 in Georgia, but I just think that Trump will take Georgia as well. And as you can see at this map right here, that puts Trump at 266 and Biden at 243. So the all-important state of Florida. Biden's is up by about 2 points right now. Trump has been getting a little closer. There's one with Biden up 6, but you have Trump up by 1, Biden up by 1, Biden up by 3, Trump by 2. There's one here with Biden +2. And I really just think that you see all these polls that were released yesterday, and some very good polling had Trump up in Florida. I think Trump will take Florida. So that puts him at 295 and Biden at 243. So it will be a closer for Trump. But now, before we finish on this map, let's just look at some of these states. Some what if scenarios really quick. What if, because some of these races are going to be within a point. So let's say Michigan, which is I'm the most unsure of, goes to Biden. Well, Trump still wins. Trump still wins. But let's say I'm wrong about Wisconsin too. And he wins Michigan and Wisconsin. Well, now it's a tie and it goes to Congress. But then if Arizona is wrong, then Trump wins. But let's just do real quick. Let's say we're wrong in some of these pollings. This is how, and he wins all these states. He picks up Pennsylvania as well. Let's say Biden picks up North Carolina, Georgia, and he picks up Florida. Now, this probably won't happen, but you could see a Biden landslide as well. Now, let me reset the map to my prediction, which I'm not believing in a Biden. But even if it was a Biden landslide, it's only a landslide in Electoral College. You still have a very close race. But this is my final prediction: Trump 295, Biden 243. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and y'all have a great day. Please hit like and subscribe.